Madhava Kunjo Bihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Girivaradhari Yashodanandana Yojana Ranjana Yashodanandana Yojana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Bonachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Hare Krishna Hare Krishna Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama Rama Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Giri Giri Radha Giri Giri Radha Jaya 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 Baladeva Jaya Subhadra Jaya Gauranitai 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 Jaya Gauranitai Jaya Jaya Prabhupada 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Jaya Gurudev 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 Jaya Jaya Gurudev Nitai Gaura Hari Bol Hari Bol Hari Bol Hari Bol. Hare Krishna everybody. Today we will first read from Srila Prabhupada's Lilamrita, and after that we'll recite and discuss slokas from Srimad Bhagavatam. So I'm first sharing my screen. So okay, everybody can.
Yes, Prabhu, we can see your screen.
See my screen now? Okay, thank you. Prabhakar Mishra, when I first met Swamiji, he said to me, you are a Brahman and a Prabhakar, and you are eating in a restaurant. You come with me, I will feed you myself, and I shall cook. So we would prepare Shadam and offering to the Lord. We would in this way, by His mercy, I got the chance to the college where I taught, and everyone laughed at me. When I told Swamiji the situation, he said, since you are a medical officer, you can grow out your hair. When I took Diksha, Swamiji gave me my name Acharya Prabhakar. My original name was Prabhakar Mishra, so he said, you do not write Mishra, you are Acharya Prabhakar. He gave me the name and offered me a tulsi mala and put tilaka on my forehead and tied a contomala around my neck. He had registered the foundation of the League of Devotees, and he appointed me as its secretary for preaching throughout the. He used to go to the villages for Sankirtan and Bhagavad Gita continuously. So I'm just sharing the screen, sharing the screen again. So everybody can see my screen now?
Yes, Prabhu.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Chapter 21 and verse 33. Tameva yuyam bhajatatma vrittivi mano vachaha kaya gunaisha karmavi amaina kamadugangri pankajam jathadhikaro vashitartha siddhaya. Tameva yuyam bhajatatma vrittivi mano vacha kaya gunaisha karmavi Maina kamadugangri pankajam jatadhikara vashitartha siddhaya tamevo yoyam bhajatatma vrittivi mano vacha kaya gunaisha karmavi amainaha kamadugangri pankajam jatadhikara vashitartha siddhaya. So anybody who wants to recite?
Hare Krishna, Guru Dandavat Pranam. Tameva jujam brahmatma.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam.
Tameva jujam bhajatatma krittivi manovacha kaya gunai sakarmavi amaina kama yugangri pankajam yatadhikara avastiyartha siddhaya.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, thank you.
Hare Krishna. Tameva yam bhajatatma vrittivi mano vachaha kaya gunai sakarmavi amayinaha kama dudangri pankajam yathadhikara vashitartha siddhayo. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Dandavat Pranam. I am also trying. Tameva yuyang bhajatatma
Hare Krishna.
vrittivi maneva cha kaya gunai sakarmavi amaina kamadugangri pankajam jathadhikara vasitartha siddhaya. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Maharaj. Anyone else wants to recite? Or so, can anyone please recite the synonyms and read out the synonyms, please?
I can try, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Madhuri. Please.
Synonyms. Tam, unto him. Eva, certainly. Yuyam, all you citizens. Bhajata, worship. Atma, own, vrittibhi, occupational duty, manah, mind, vachaha, words, kaya, body, gunaihi, by the particular qualities, swakarmabhi, by occupational duties, amayinaha, without reservation, kamadugha, fulfilling all desires, angri pankajam, the lotus feet, yatha, as far as, adhikar, ability, avasita artha, fully convinced of one's interest, siddhaya, satisfaction. Thank you,
Thank you,
Prabhu.
Madhuri. So anyone can read out the translation, please?
Yes, Prabhu, I can go ahead. Translation by Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Prithu Maharaj advised his citizens, engaging your minds, your words, your bodies, and the results of your occupational duties, and being always open-minded. You should all render devotional service to the Lord, according to your abilities and the occupations in which you are situated. You should engage your service at the lotus feet on the Supreme Personality of Godhead with full confidence and without reservation. Then you will surely be successful in achieving the final objective in your lives. Thank you, Prabhu.
Thank you, Madhuri. And anyone wants to read out the purport, please?
Hare
Hare
Krishna.
Krishna Prabhu.
Purport by Srila Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada.
Yes,
As
please.
stated in 18th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, Sakarmana from Abhichari, one has to worship the Supreme Personality of Godhead by one's occupational duties. This necessitates accepting the principles of four varnas and four ashrams. Prithu Maharaj therefore says, Gunaisha Karmavi. This phrase is explained in Bhagavad Gita. Chaturvarnam Maya Sistam Guna Karma Vibhagasha. The four castes, the Brahmanas, Kshatriya, Vaishya, and Shudra, are created by the Supreme Personality of Godhead according to the material modes of nature and the particular duties discharged in those modes. A person who is situated in the mood of goodness is certainly more intelligent than others. Therefore, he can practice the Brahmanical activities, namely speaking the truth, controlling the senses, controlling the mind, remaining always clean, practicing tolerance, having full knowledge about one's self-identity, and understanding devotional service. In this way, if he engages himself in the loving service of the Lord as an actual Brahman, his aim to achieve the final interest of life is attained. Similarly, the Kshatriya's duty are to give protection to the citizen, to give all his possessions in charity, to be strictly Vedic in the management of state affairs, and to be unafraid to fight whenever there is an attack by enemies. In this way, a Kshatriya can satisfy Supreme Personality of Godhead by his occupational duties. Similarly, a Vaishya can satisfy the Supreme Personality of Godhead by properly executing his occupational duties, engaging himself in producing foodstuff, giving protection to cows, and trading if necessary when there is an excess of agricultural production. Similarly, because Shudras do not have ample intelligence, they should simply engage as workers to serve the higher statuses of social life. Everyone's aim should be to satisfy the Supreme Personality of Godhead by engaging his mind in thinking always of Krishna, his words in always offering prayers to the Lord, or preaching about the glories of the Lord, and his body in executing the service to satisfy the Lord. As there are four divisions within our body, the head, the arms, the belly, and the legs. Similarly, human society taken as a whole is divided into four classes of men according to their material qualities and occupational duties. Thus, the Brahmanical or intelligent men have to execute the duties of the head, the Kshatriya must fulfill the duties of arms, the Vaishya must fulfill the duties of the belly, and the Shudras must fulfill the duties of the legs. In executing the prescribed duties of life, no one is higher or lower. There are such divisions as higher and lower, but since there is actually a common interest to satisfy the Supreme Personality of Godhead, there is no distinction between them. The question may be raised, since the Lord is supposed to be worshipped by great demigods like Brahma, Lord Shiva, and others, how can an ordinary human being on the planet, serve him? This is clearly explained by Prithu Maharaj by the use of the word yatha adhikara, according to one's ability. If one sincerely executes his occupational duty, that will be sufficient. One does not need to become like Lord Brahma, Shiva, Indra, Lord Chaitanya, or Ramanu Acharya, whose capabilities are certainly far above ours. Even a Shudra, which is the lowest stage of life, according to the material qualities, can achieve the same success. Anyone can become successful in devotional service provided he displays no duplicacy. It is important to explain here that one must be very frank and open-minded. Amayina, to be situated in a lower status of life is not a disqualification for success in devotional service. The only qualification is that whether one is Brahman, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra, he must be open, frank, and free from reservation. Then, by performing this particular occupational duty under the guidance of a proper spiritual master, he can achieve the highest success in life, as confirmed by the Lord Striya, Vaishya, Tata Shudra, Te Apiyanti Parangati. Bhagavad Gita 9:30. Mind and intelligence is sure to be successful in going back to Godhead. Lord Lotus feet are described as a Kama, Duga, Angri, Pankajam because they have all power to fulfill the desires of everyone. The devotee is happy even in this life because although in material existence we have many needs, all material needs are satisfied, and when he at last quits his body, he goes back to body without a doubt. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhuji, for reading now. I'm going to stop sharing. And Om Jnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Jena Tasmai Sri Gurave Nama Sri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Shayam Rupa Padamayam Dadati Shapadantikam Vandeham Sri Guru Sri Yuta Pada Kamala Sri Guru Vaishnavancha Sri Rupam Tam Shogana Raghunatanitam Tam Sajivam Sadan Shogana Lulita Se Vishakanitasya He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanto Radha Kanto Namastute Tapta Kanchana Rangi Radhe Bindavaneshwari Rishabhavyasya Vipashindupya Evacha Paditanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namo Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaur Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pishtaya Bhutale Prabhupadanugami Sri Shubha Goswamini Shoda Dunyashili Shubha Gaya Sarva Jiva Kripabdhe Guru Shiksha Sadachara Upalokaya Namastute Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharine
Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Desha Tarine Namo Mahapadannaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namne Gauratishe Namo Mukam Karoti Vachalam Pongam Langayati Gim Yatkipata Mahamande Paramananda Madhavam Sri Guru Dinara. Hare Krishna everybody. So today's verse, a brief background of the context. And before that, I welcome everybody for this morning class of Srimad Bhagavatam. Although I am unqualified and I'm doing this service as I've been to purify myself, I beg you all for your mercy to please bless me so that I can properly glorify the Supreme Lord Krishna. Now, a brief background of the topics. As we know, King Vena was not performing his duty as a king properly. So the priest or the Brahmanas killed him, and his body was preserved by Sunita, his mother. And after that, King Prithu came from the churning of his body came the body of Prithu, and Prithu Maharaj was coronated as the king of the universe, and he was praised by the professional reciters, and he became a perfect king. He first provided, when they told him, he administered art so that she supplies all the necessaries for their citizen, which is the duty of a king. So he did that, and after that he made a sacrifice complete because Indra took away the horse, and after that Lord Brahma came and advised King Prithu not to continue with the yajna because Indra was afraid, and so he at once abide by his instruction and stopped it, and subsequently he made in the sacrificial arena, Lord Vishnu came and blessed him personally by the instruction of higher authorities, and for which he has been blessed by the Supreme Lord himself, because and Supreme Lord, and as it is told in various, particularly in Bhagavad Gita 647, but here the Yajna Purush himself has come and he has blessed it. So that is the quality of King Prithu. And we are now, in this verse, it is very clearly stated that Tomevo Vyam Bhajavatma Vrittivir Mono Vacho Kaya Guno Shaparmovi Amaino Kamodukangri Pankajam Yatadikaro Shidhar. So it is still, Prijumara is telling his citizens very clearly what should be their ultimate duty and goal as a citizen, what they should do. Is telling that they should engage their mind of their occupational duties to render devotional service to the Lord. Based on their abilities and occupation, they should engage their services at the lotus feet of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So we clearly find that as a Kshatriya or king, his sole aim in ruling his kingdom as a king is to make his citizens conscious about the Supreme Lord Krishna. Or in other words, he is trying to make people Krishna conscious. Being an incarnation of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, he knows that one has to realize this Supreme Lord or this realization of the Bhagavad Tattva in this form of life itself. And this is a rare opportunity in this human form of life, and no one should lose this opportunity. And he is also assuring them that if they do this with confidence, and here the last, it is that, Jathadikaro, without any reservation, and body, mind, and he has done three things. with your minds, words, and bodies. That means all sincerely. But if one does that, is assuring that if they do it, it's of their life. So we'll try to first. I will discuss about the important role of a king in ensuring the human in transforming the human society to a Krishna conscious society. As we know, in the social order, each one is important. Brahmana is important, as in the Papa Prabhupada is very clearly told that each one is important. But everyone has to do his duty sincerely and with a sense of cooperation and thinking that no one is superior for the happiness of the Lord. So our purpose is to satisfy the Lord by doing our activities. But even saying that, the position of the king is very important because he is controlling the whole society. By his personal instruction, Pithu Maharaj is here teaching us the future kings or any other similar administrators about the role, particularly the duties and responsibilities toward their citizen. As we know, a Kshatriya king, because of his inherent qualities, in Bhagavad Gita 1843, the qualities of Kshatriya has been very clearly defined. Shauryam tejodhiti raksha, yuddhechapi apalanam, dhanam nishchara bhavascha, shatram karma svabhaja. So he shows heroism, he has the power, and he never backs from the battlefield, and he has determination, priti, and he is dhanam. He offers leadership and protects the society in two ways. First, by meeting the bodily needs of his citizens, as we have seen previously. He has supplied all the foods and necessary for city for his citizens. That is the bodily requirement. He is meeting the bodily requirements of everybody. It is not same for everybody. Depending upon their position and the qualities, they should get their requirements. It is not same, as is often Prabhupada is. Yesterday he was telling the verse that the Shudras can think of only equality, but according to the quality, the requirements, everything is different. And the king's duty is to satisfy the needs of everyone in their shakarma, in their own activities, and not inequality in a vague sense of the term. Equality according to the requirements. And what is that requirement? About the spiritual requirements. At the same, he ensures that spiritual progress of all his citizens are also done. Srila Prabhupada has explained a very important point in the beginning of Bhagavad Gita in chapter 4, why it is important for the kings to ensure the spiritual progress of his citizens. See, if we remember the Bhagavad Gita in chapter 4, first verse is Imam Vivashate Yovam Pruktavan Homapram Vivashan Manove Prahu Manoviksha Pravi Evam Parampara Prapto Imam Rajarshaya Vidu Shokalena Mohata Yogonashto Parantapo. I mean, he is telling that he has instructed this principle or the yoga to Vivashan, first Vivashan and Vivashan to Monu to Ikshaku. In this way, in this disciplic succession, the knowledge was spread among the kings. Rajarsha Vidu. And by saying Rajarsha Vidu, he wants to mean the king which are as good as a Brahmin, who has knowledge, who has the quality of a Kshatriya as well as the quality of a Brahmin. They are called Rajarsha Vidu, Rajarshi. So why it is important? because in the royal order should understand Prabhupada rights are specially meant for the protection of the inhabitants, and therefore the royal order should understand the science of Bhagavad Gita or Vedic knowledge, or in order to enable to rule the citizens and protect them from material bondage to lust. And he is telling that human life is meant for cultivation of spirit of God. The executive heads of all states and all planets are obliged to impart this lesson to his citizens by education, by culture and devotion. So by education, culture and devotion, they should invite this knowledge to his intended to spread the science of Krishna consciousness, so that the people can take advantage of the great science and pursue a successful path, utilizing the opportunities of this human form of life. So the king has a special responsibility to ensure that all his citizens pursue scriptures. Previously, all the kings used to do that. And that is the importance Prabhupada is telling, that it is the responsibility of all the kings, not only on in the present past days, but it is for the present days as well. And when a king his duties perfectly as a existential position of goodness, and such a king, as we told, is called Rajarshi. He protects everyone in his kingdom by his own prowess in the line of a duty of a Kotyo, and also he and the citizen should be Krishna conscious. Otherwise, both of them are doomed to be lower species of life after death. A responsible government, as is the King Prithu has done in the past, must teach the Krishna consciousness very vigorously to the benefit of all people. And Prithu Maharaj therefore specifically requested his citizens to act in Krishna consciousness, and he is very anxious to teach them how to become Krishna conscious. And he is very clearly explaining how we can become. If we fail to do that, a great opportunity will be lost in this life. And another thing, we should do it with all sincerity and full confidence and without reservation. Personally, with full confidence and without reservation. Without reservation means we should not have any doubt about that. And in Bhagavad Gita, verse 440, it is clearly written that Agyasya sabdhadanasya samshayatma vinashyati nayangakosti no poro no shukam samshayatmano. Ignorant and the faithless person who doubts the revealed scriptures do not attain God consciousness, and they fall down. For the doubting soul, there is neither in this world nor in the next, neither in this world nor in the future. And in fact, in the present, generally, the people are three types of persons are there. Persons who are like animals, they have no knowledge, no faith, and no knowledge about the standard revealed scripture. And there are some who have some knowledge. And second category, there are who have some knowledge and can recite passages and from revealed scripture also, but actually have no faith. They have read it, but they have just read it. They have no faith on that. And there are others, and there are also another people who may have faith in the scripture, but do not have faith in Krishna. So all these people are incapable, cannot have any standing for Krishna consciousness. One must be very focused, and he must have strong faith that he will achieve this. By doing Krishna consciousness, he will be able to achieve the goal of his life. And in fact, that by whatever is the sense, he will be able to get the param, the final goal. He can reach the final goal of his life. That must have faith. Otherwise, another verse is there in Bhagavad Gita 3, Pashtratta Dhana Purusha Nitya Samsara Vatmani. Those who are not faithful in devotional service cannot attain me. Lord Krishna is telling to Arjuna, O conqueror and his, therefore they return to the path of birth and death in this material world. So they will remain in the repeated cycle of birth and death if they have no faith what they are doing. And in the words of the Guru, in the words of the Shastra, and the word of the and the sadhus who have no to achieve the ultimate goal of life. And similarly, the purpose, and another thing is that we are told whatever is our position, it doesn't matter. It does not matter. Sincerely pursue our prescribed duties properly and remain confident that by doing it properly, we can get the ultimate goal of life, and we satisfy our spiritual master. Our spiritual master is satisfied with what we are doing, and we are following his instruction properly by in association with the devotees and the Vaishnavas. Then we should have confidence that we'll go back to Godhead without any doubt. In the present verse, Prabhupada is telling about the Varnasrama Dharma, about the importance of occupational duties or Varnasrama. Occupational duties means Varnasrama Dharma, we all know the necessity of accepting 4 principles of social orders, or the Varna, the 4 social orders and 4 ashramas, that is orders of life. The first 4 is the 4 Varna, means 4 orders for the society, and ashramas as in the Bhagavad it is written, and the 4 orders are for the individual bodies. So by Maharaj Prithu is therefore saying Guna Sakarma Bhi. This is the phrase explained in Bhagavad Gita 4:13, where he says Chaturvarnam Maya System Guna Karma Vibhakasya. So 4 divisions of social order, beginning with the intelligent man, and this intelligent, they are being situated in the mode of goodness. And next is the administrative class of Kshatriyas. They are technically known as, there is called Kshatriya. And the other is mercantile called the Vaishyas. They are situated in the mode of passion and ignorance. And the Shudras and the laborers, they are situated in the mode of ignorance. They try to help the 3 other varnas to perform their duties properly. In this way, as Prabhupada has clearly stated, that it is important that we perform our duties, social responsibilities properly, without any reservation. If we do that, doesn't matter what status of life we are, we will be able to reach our final destination. And in fact, the purpose of Varnasrama Dharma was made to make people go above the animal life, because we know there is a verse that the ahar nidra bhoy noituncho samanetot pashu vina samannametot pashu vinarnam dharma hi tesham adhiko vishesho dharmena hina purusho dharmena hina pashu vishamana. That means these ahar nidra bhoy noituncho, these are the eating, sleeping, mating, and fear and mating. These are the common with animals and men. But the only human life is endowed with a gift to perform dharma and to discuss about dharma. And so if we do not make use of it, then it becomes, who does not understand this and do not pursue that life, he is no better than anyone. And Prabhupada is very often and almost repeatedly he has stressed the need that the human life, we should utilize it and make it different from animal life, as unfortunately the human life is going on everywhere around us, is an animal life going on, and we have to, he tried to introduce Krishna consciousness only to elevate people from that, so that people can understand that the human life is not for these 4 activities only. One has to rise above it, and we have to understand our relationship with the Lord. And So if we, for doing that, it is not necessary, as we have repeated, that it is not necessary that what is our position in the society, because Krishna consciousness or love for Krishna is not dependent on the material circumstances. But at the same time, we should utilize our opportunities, or whatever qualities we have to utilize it for the service of the Lord. And there should be a distinction between that, because the qualities are different for different persons. And it is not unimportant, because unless we utilize our qualities properly, we will not be able to serve the Lord properly, because the Lord has given us these qualities. And in fact, if we see even Gaura Lila, the Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in his lifetime, when he has, in his devotees, particularly, he has utilized the various qualities of his devotees to perform various activities according to their qualities or the abilities. And I'm just reading out a few verses from Chaitanya Charitamrita, where it is pointed out how he has utilized it. Bhakti prema tattva kohe rai kori bhakta aponi pradyumna misra sahayasrata. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu preached about the devotional service, bhakta. Devotional service, aesthetic love, and the absolute truth by making Ramananda Rai, a grihastha born in a low family, a speaker. Then Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu himself, the exalted Brahmana Sannyasi, and Pradyumna Mishra, the purified Brahmana, both became the hearer of the Ramananda Rai. So, for devotion Mahaprabhu, Sanatana Dara Bhakti Siddhanta Vilasha, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu exhibited the glories of the holy name of the Lord through Haridas Thakur, who was born in a Muslim family. And similarly, he exhibited a sense of devotional service through Sanatana Goswami. And similarly, in another case, is the next verse, 587. Sri Rupa Dara Brajero Prema Rasalila Ke Bujibe Para Gambhira Chaitanya Lila. Sorry, I'm reading it again. Sri Rupa Dara Brajero Prema Lila Ke Bujite Pare Gambhira Chaitanya. Also, the Lord fully exhibited the aesthetic love and transcendental pastimes of Vrindavan through Srila Rupa Goswami. And considering all this, who can understand the deep plans of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu? In this way, he has utilized the very qualities of his devotees in a different way, which is so that they can serve the Lord in the best possible way. So in this way, we have to engage our body, mind, and all our abilities to reach our final goal. A saintly king like Prithu Maharaj opens our eyes and reveals how to cross the side of this darkness. And by our past deeds, we are in this material world doing fruitive activities and lost sight of our destination of life. And we are wandering within this universe for many, many lives. So our purpose should be, the goal should be to reach to go back to Godhead. And in the present day, another thing before I conclude a few words, the Varnasrama Dharma is also, that is whatever Varnasrama Dharma one performs, that is on the material platform. Unless one elevates himself beyond the Varnasrama Dharma, he will not be able to do the transcendental progress, because Varnasrama Dharma is based on the bodily concept. So is to achieve the final goal of life, and we have to utilize Varnasrama Dharma. And in the present situation of life, where Varnasrama Dharma is not in use and is not practiced, although it is there. It is not practiced in the society by the government or the state policy. So it is in that way, it is not there. But the Varnasramas cannot be get rid of, because it is introduced by Krishna based on one's qualities. Everyone is doing this activity, probably they are not aware of that. So, because the purpose of Varnasrama Dharma is to elevate one to the state of to go back to Godhead, and we have to do that. And In this way, in the end, we can go back to Godhead by performing our duties according to our qualities, and with all sincerity. If we do that, we'll go back to Godhead. This is the Krishna Maharaj telling us. And in this context, we must remember the duty or the yajna or the performance what we do in this day is Sankirtan yajna. And in the present age, Sankirtan yajna is the only yajna we should perform, not any other yajna, because that is not possible in this present age. So by performing Sankirtan yajna or by chanting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, which is a transcendental, which this transcendental message, Prabhupada has repeatedly told it, and even Narottam Das Thakur has told, Golokaro Prem Dham Harinam Sankirtan, means the treasure of divine love of Harinam Sankirtan, chanting of Hare Krishna Mahamantra, the transcendental vibration, is not a material thing. It is imported from the transcendental level of Goloko. So if we chant it properly and follow the instruction of our spiritual master, and in association with devotees, here the transcendental knowledge from the Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam, we can go back to our Godhead, and we should have no doubt about that. And that is Prithu Maharaj is telling us that we should have no doubt that if we perform it properly, we will go back to Godhead. And with that, I am concluding. If anyone, please feel free to say that, and I'm happy to learn from you.
A beautiful class about Varnashram system. The whole text is about Varnashram system. A good essay writing for all of us while we attempt to write the Varnashram system. It's beautifully explained throughout. Yes, what do you understand? Varna and Ashram, the 4 plus 4, 8 divisions. It is to be maintained as Krishna has made it through Bhagavad Gita 4:13. It is very, very important. Even today, all the 8 classes are very important for material perspective and also in spiritual perspective. But only thing, in whatever stage we have, as we need to do our duties with mind, word, and body. That's why in text 1.2:13, Atopumbit Bija Seshta Varnasam Divagasha Sa Anuspishta Sa Anutishta Sa Dharmasha Samsiddhi Haritoshan. And that is the goal of our life. If everything is done towards the purpose of Haritoshanam, every work is feasible and they are all important. The main purpose is to Haritoshanam. So whatever stage we have in our Varna and Ashram, it doesn't matter, but it all matters if the source is directly connected to Haritoshanam. So that's what the explanation is here, beautifully explained. And you talk about the 3 kinds of people: those who have knowledge, those who have some knowledge but no faith, those who have some knowledge but no faith in Krishna. So those people are actually, they have the problem of not accepting Krishna as the Supreme Personality of God, because they have some restriction. That's why it is said in the purport, there should not be any restriction. Once the restriction comes, that binds our progress. That's why Prabhupada on and on telling, you need to be very free from frank and reservation. Then only you can get attached to the performance of devotional service towards Lord. That's why it is said that performing particular occupational duty under the guidance of his spiritual master, he can achieve the highest success in life. So it is very, very prominent instruction given by Srila Prabhupada. No matter where we are, the main subject is to be frank and free from reservation. So that's the only thing. And that's why Srila Prabhupada has made such a good attempt for all of us, people in general also, to understand the importance of Varna system, which is prevailing, but people do not understand its impact. So if we follow that system, even in today, we are sure that we will be achieving the highest goal of life, which is Samsiddhi Haritoshana. Thank you, Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Thank you for. Anyone else have any?
Hare Krishna Prabhu, Dandot Pranam.
Hare
Thank
Krishna,
you.
Prabhuji. Dandavad Pranam.
Thank you so much for your nice class explaining this important concept of Varnashrama Dharma, which has been coming throughout in this chapter. So I just was wanting to understand, Prabhu. It is mentioned the purport, and you also mentioned that it's important that to develop this open, frank, and free from reservation. So that's what I just wanted to understand how to develop that, because normally what like my tendency is, I'll think Shudra has low intelligence. Then I think no. Actually, I have high intelligence. Actually, I am Brahmana. So I even if I do service, I'll do as Brahmana. I am not Shudra. So how to overcome that? How can I overcome? Any guidance on that, Prabhu? Like how to get that frank nature to recognize my true quality and do the service like that. Just wanted to understand, Prabhu.
Thank you, Prabhuji, for importing this very important point. One should remember, as you have rightly told, that in this material world, some positions are important, and there is no doubt about that. The position is important, but important does not mean you can neglect the other. The others are equally important. Just like in a body, in a body, the head is very important. But can we live without the leg? No, it is important. He is also important. But maybe while we compare it, we can find out that one is more important than the other. But ultimately, by excluding anyone, we cannot. The system cannot function. So we have to think in that perspective only, because it is in this material world we are all possessing pride and all the other things that are not favorable for transcendental, that is different from transcendental world. But we often forget the transcendental thing, that everybody is a creation of. Then we are not following the instruction of the Lord, because you see in case of social order also, Chaturvarnam Mayasram Guna Karma. The purpose is that everybody can take part in the service of the Lord. So in this way, we should consider. And another thing that is, in the material things we compare, but if we think that God has created everyone with something special within him, so no one is unimportant, no one is very important, because Lord has given us certain qualities, and by that we are trying to serve God. And in a similar, and it is always different from person to person. Although we in the material world we think that everything is same. Even you can see the twin brothers when they, as an example I'm giving. If twin brothers, they were born from the same womb of the mother, they were brought up with the same parents, they were given the same facilities, but all that they are different. Even then it's different. Because the Lord, each one is separate karma of the previous life. So the God has created us according to our ability, according to our previous desire and other things, and the qualities we are in the material world. But each one of us has a duty as human being to perform. And so if we consider that he has I'm a very lower level and someone is a very higher level. That is one situation to understand. But to get rid of what the points what you told me is that we should think that each one has got a responsibility. And so that way, God has created him that way. And just like the example of in the Ramayana, we have the squirrel and the monkeys, you know very well probably. So the Ramchandra has praised even the squirrel because he is doing his best. So maybe he is not doing as good as the monkey. As Prabhupada is also in this purport told, Brahma and Shiva are there in a very high level. They are doing their. So if we compare them, we only belittle ourselves and we get away from the Lord. If we compare in this way, we should always think properly. But Krishna Prabhuji, I think, I'm not sure whether I've been able to tell you that.
No, thank you, Prabhu. I think very nicely you mentioned, like we have recognized every living entity is unique, and the Lord has given unique abilities. No, to serve. Thank you, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Prabhu. Thank you very much.
Hare
Anyone
Krishna.
else?
Can I add something to it, if you allow me?
Yes, Prabhuji, yes.
As you mentioned, this in material world, we understand the distinction because one is living, other one is non-living. So we have a distinction between the two. But in the spiritual world, there is nothing, no distinction, because everything is represented as a person. So distinction within material world is visible, but not in the spiritual world. That's why Lord says, everybody has got his importance in its own role. So there is no distinction. Whatever the status you have, whatever activities you do it right in the direction of satisfying the Lord. That is the whole purpose. Thank you.
Hare Krishna Prabhu.
So Baladas, if I may ask a question about Varnashrama.
Yes, Prabhu.
My understanding what Varnashrama system of forecast and Varnas, it's not a black and white guideline, because we all come in material world with mixed gunas, with mixed qualities. And the reason I'm saying that, I believe in Chaitanya Charitamrita, Lord Chaitanya meeting with Mahaprabhu, Lord Chaitanya meeting Ramananda Rai, and Prabhupada in the comments does write what Ramananda Rai coming from, correct me if I'm wrong, I think that he mentioned Kayasta caste, which is a mixture of Brahmana and Kshatriya. No, Kshatriya in Vaishya, I believe. Please correct me if I'm wrong. Is it correct to assume what each of us having a mixture of qualities of possibly of all four Varnas to some degree, and obviously one of them is probably dominant, as described, but some of them in present also, but in a diminished quality or quantity. Please, can you comment on this?
Okay, Prabhuji, please correct me if I have understood. You want to say that people have different different gunas. Your question?
What qualities of Brahmana, Vaishya, Shudra, and Kshatriya present in all of us doesn't to a different degree depends on our
yes.
There's a main quality,
yeah.
but other qualities also present. We're not perfect Brahmana or perfect Vaishya. Maybe it was in Satya Yuga, but in Kali Yuga it's all kind of getting mixed, possibly. I'm looking for confirmation for this.
Okay, Prabhuji, as you're right, that in the material world, no one is free from the other two. But when we try to purify ourselves, because Janmana Jayati Shudra, as Prabhupada is told, everybody is born as a Shudra, but only by process of purification, we reach the Brahmana stage or the Vaishnava stage. But as you have pointed out rightly, Prabhuji, that what is the predominant mode that determines one's social order. And when he goes to, previously they used to go to Gurukula, and in the Gurukula, under the instruction of the Guru, he was taking spiritual education. So the Guru knew perfectly well what guna his disciple has. So accordingly, he was given a profession. But nowadays that is abandoned. But the fact remains that each one of us is in possession of different modes. That none has got goodness, none has got absolutely goodness, or the mixture of that. And each time, it is also very time to time, as you have seen in Bhagavad Gita, it is clearly mentioned that one tries to override the other. So it is there, but the predominant qualities of goodness, and that determines the Brahman. And also by performing their activities in that way, they try to perfect themselves, and they can attain the higher. And ultimately, when we all act in devotional service, we overcome the modes of our material mode. And if I can correct, 1426, I think it is. And Arjuna has asked Lord Sri Krishna that how one can overcome his mode. Then Lord Krishna has told him that so only by serving the Lord and by associating with the Lord, by doing devotional service, one can overcome his modes. But it determines what social orders we belong, and the social activity and the dominance of the modes as well as the activities we do determine what social orders we are. And the caste system, as the caste in word is never there in the Indian, in our Shastra, but the caste is a British creation. Subsequently, they try to fix the jati and dharma, and that jati and gunas together, and they fixed it. It was so now a lot of confusion has been created, and it has created a bad social, social system. It has become as a curse, and people have misused it of different based on their birth. So we can get rid of, we can, keeping aside that one, by to answer your question, it is like that the predominant qualities determines and which category of the social order we belong to, and it also depends on our activity, whether we are doing that activity also. Based on that, the quality, as Prabhupada has told, for Satyaguna, who has called predominant Satyaguna and who is performing the activities for Brahmana, he is a Brahmin. And similarly, one who has got Rajaguna predominantly and maybe other qualities as well, he is Kshatriya, or the administrative class, and similarly the Vaishyas are in course of passions and ignorance, and the Shudras are in ignorance. Hare Krishna Prabhuji. I think this is what I know. I'm sorry if I have not been able to.
Thank you, Prabhu.
To answer you, but if you have any. Thank you, Prabhuji, for your. So in that case, has anybody had any other questions, or otherwise we can close the class now? Okay. Vancha kalpatarupascha kripasindubhyev vacho patitanam pavanebhyo
Vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Ananta koti Vaishnavrinda ki. His Grace Abhay Charan Prabhu ki jai. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. All glories to assembled devotees.